Hidden female CEO worked as a temp. A black billionaire fell for her and insisted on marrying her. She wore clearance rack heels and fixed jam printers for people who didn't bother learning her name. Nobody at the firm knew she built 3 startups under a fake LLC. Nobody knew she was the silent owner of the very office building they worked in. Until the black billionaire everyone worshipped walked in and said 5 words that made the room fall silent. "Where's the woman who owns this?" And when he found her holding a coffee tray near the copier, he didn't blink. He dropped to one knee. "Boss or not, I'm asking, marry me." If you believe real love begins where ego ends and that power doesn't always wear a suit, hit follow. Real Father Stories brings you true feeling tales told with clarity, twist, and redemption. Her name wasn't on the door. For 9 months, Tessa Whitmore clocked in at Cambridge & Cole Financial at 7:48 a.m. sharp, not 7:50, not 7:55. She always made it in just before the receptionists arrived, long enough to avoid being noticed, early enough to stay invisible. She fixed coffee machines, booked conference rooms, took minutes in meetings where her name wasn't said once. "Temp girl, hey, can you reset the Wi-Fi? Where's my printout, sweetheart?" She smiled, nodded, wrote everything down. What nobody at Cambridge & Cole knew was the building lease was in her name. The shell company that paid for 40% of the firm's Series B was hers. The patents that powered their AI portfolio. She had written them under pseudonyms before quietly selling them for equity. Tessa had chosen invisibility on purpose. After being burned by 2 co-founders who stole her code and sold her out, she stopped chasing credit. She chased leverage. That morning, the office buzzed like usual. A new client was visiting a major figure. Whispers flew. "It's Montgomery Knight. You know, Knight Digital, MBK Global, one of the youngest black billionaires in the country. What the hell is he doing here? Rumor is he's about to acquire the firm." Tessa just nodded. She already knew. Montgomery wasn't just a tech genius. He was meticulous. He had an eye for undervalued assets. She admired that. He also didn't know that this entire firm had been under quiet observation from her family trust for months. But when she finally saw him, tall, tailored, and confident, her breath caught. Not because he was rich, but because he looked tired behind the charm. Like someone carrying too many battles in a bespoke suit. They met at the copy machine. She was restocking paper. He was printing a deck. He looked at her, paused. "You don't look like the others," he said. Tessa raised an eyebrow. "Because I'm holding toner. Because you're listening." She froze. Montgomery reached for the printed pages. Their hands brushed. "I'm here to buy this company," he said quietly. "But something feels off. Maybe you're seeing through the illusion. And what are you? The magician." She smiled faintly. "Something like that." He tilted his head. "What's your name?" "Tessa." "Tessa." "What?" "Just Tessa, for now." She thought that would be the end of it. But he watched her walk away. And something in his eyes said, "She's not a temp. She's a test I didn't see coming." The seat she never took, the annual stakeholders review at Cambridge & Cole, wasn't designed for temps. It was high-level invite only for equity holders, board members, and strategic partners. People in sleek blazers with surnames that echoed down Ivy League hallways. Tessa had received the calendar invite anyway, privately, encrypted. Her seat was reserved, back left corner, close to the window, away from the spotlight. And that's where she would have stayed if Montgomery Knight hadn't walked in 10 minutes late and noticed her before the partners introduced themselves. He did a double take. She was wearing a slate gray pantsuit, no name tag, no notebook, no tray of coffees, just stillness, control. He sat across the room, but his eyes never left her. The presentation began. Profits, projections, buzzwords. Then came the investor slide. A pie chart of Series A and B contributors. One section stood out: Vesper Holdings, 24%. Montgomery raised a brow. "I've done due diligence on your books," he said. "But this firm, Vesper, I couldn't find much." Partner number 2 cleared his throat. "Silent investment group. Old money. Minimal interference." Tessa tilted her head. Spoke for the first time. "That's not entirely true." Every head turned. She stood slowly. Walked to the table. Eyes steady. "Vesper Holdings isn't old money. It's strategically never hid. Their first date wasn't really a date. It was a rooftop in Harlem. No candles, no private chef. Just takeout boxes, sweatshirts, and a shared view of the city they both built from the ground up." Tessa brought Thai food. Montgomery brought silence. "Not what you expected from a billionaire, huh?" he said. "Honestly," she replied, opening her noodles, "I expected you to ghost me after yesterday." "I don't ghost," he said, "I recalibrate." She raised a brow. "So this is a recalibration." He smiled. "This is honesty. You earned it." They talked about the deals that broke them, the mentors that saved them, and the one deal they both regretted walking away from. But then Tessa noticed something. A faint line across Montgomery's left hand, a scar. "What happened?" she asked. He hesitated. "Then, I was 12. My mom worked nights at St. Vincent's. One day I stayed after school to build a makeshift drone out of junkyard parts. It flew. Kind of. Crashed into a wall. When I got home late, my stepfather was waiting with a belt." She froze. "That scar?" He nodded. "It's not from the drone." Silence. He was the kind of man who hated ambition in a black boy. Said I was acting white. Talking too proper. Dreaming too loud. Tessa's throat tightened. "Where's he now?" "Gone. Years ago. Never looked back." She reached out, took his hand gently. "You built a billion-dollar legacy with that same hand." The woman who gave her a name. The house sat on a quiet street in Queens. Paint chipped, wind chimes tangled, but the mailbox still read, "Mrs. E. Holloway." Montgomery followed Tessa up the steps. She looked nervous, not the poised executive or sharp-tongued observer he'd met weeks before. "You sure you want me here?" he asked gently. She nodded. "If you're serious about seeing me, you have to meet the woman who saw me when no one else did." She knocked. The door opened. A soft voice replied, "Lord, you finally brought a man to my porch. Then, and he ain't ugly either." Montgomery laughed. "Nice to meet you, ma'am." "I'm no ma'am. I'm Mama Holloway. You hungry or just pretty?" Inside the walls told a story. Photos of foster kids, newspaper clippings, graduation caps, and in one frame a younger Tessa, about 14, standing beside a science fair trophy, wearing a borrowed dress 2 sizes too big. She didn't say a word for the first month. Mama Holloway recalled handing Montgomery a sweet tea. Just sat in corners. Slept with a flashlight under her pillow. When the world found out, it started with a headline. Secret billionaire tech. Tycoon's mystery girlfriend owns 24% of Cambridge and Coal. Underneath, a zoomed-in photo of Tessa entering a building. Her full name, her Vesper connection, her past affiliations. Then another article, and another, until she was everywhere. The woman who had stayed hidden for years was now front-page news. Tessa woke to over 120 missed calls. Her inbox flooded, her social media hacked and wiped. Montgomery's PR team was already in crisis mode. "They think you're manipulating me," he said, pacing. "Using our relationship to consolidate control." "Let them think it," she snapped. The land they forgot. Montgomery and Tessa didn't just rebuild. They launched Found Undone, a radical investment incubator targeting founders without traditional credentials. formerly incarcerated high school dropouts, undocumented immigrants with tech vision. The idea was hers, the first $10 million his. "Let them shut us out," she said. "We'll build the back door and teach others how to walk through it." Within 6 months, their program funded 7 startups. Within 9, 3 got acquired. But one day, a call came from a woman named Delilah. He didn't bring a ring. He brought a promise. The grand opening of the Lorraine Pulse Holloway Center for Unseen Genius drew a crowd bigger than anyone expected. News vans, old neighbors, even a former president sent a letter of support. But for Montgomery, it wasn't about the press. It was about 2 women, one who raised him from nothing, one who reminded him he was everything. Tessa stood in the front row wearing a deep emerald dress. No heels, no makeup team, just her. Behind her, the question only a child could ask. 3 weeks before the wedding, Tessa and Montgomery canceled everything. Not out of fear, not because of pressure, because they'd realized something at the heart of their journey. They weren't building a love story for people who already believed. They were building one for the kids still waiting to. Instead of a ballroom, they booked the entire east wing of the Lorraine Plus Holloway Center. Invited 112 foster children. No press,